Hello everybody, I am here today to go over a little vehicle I've been working on recently that I had originally named Vanguard Airlines and then renamed it to, renamed it to Vanguard Airlines SR-901 Blackbird 2. Now, let's start off with version 1 and a quick test performance. So version 1 weighs 15,000 kilograms using decently heavy materials and has 2 lower mounted engines as well as a pretty standard landing gear setup. Now, this aircraft performs decently in this first early phase. It performed well, not as well as I would like it to perform, but it didn't actually perform well, as you can see here. It was this version 2 that I think is one that started to where performance started to increase. So if we load up version 2, we had a drastic change in design with rather than just 2 engines. We increased the aerodynamic stability, increased wingspan, making it more of a glider, add an extra 2 wheels, and more engines. This variant, Vanguard Airlines version 2, has 10 engines. Now if we move on to version 3 of the aircraft. Version 3 used the exact same fuselage frame. Actually, we didn't say that weight. Version 2. Version 2 weighed 18,300 kilograms. Version 3 was exactly the same, except with even more engines clocking in at... Yeah, exactly the same, with more engines clocking in at 29,366 kilograms. Now, this craft actually weighs so much, I didn't catch this on the first one, but it leans back onto its wingtips upon launching when the physics engine starts to go in. I gave it decent looking beveled intake housings, and this performed very well, actually. The high number of engines over this, much like the last one, version 2, consumed fuel at an extremely high rate. However, on the odd side, it worked decently well as a glider, and can hit impressive speeds of over 3 times the speed of sound. Now let's move on to version 4. version 4 is exactly the same as version 3, except I added fuel tanks, new fuel tanks. The materials did not use lighter weight materials, and as you can see, I did kind of use Tinker Panel a little bit for the fuel tanks because of how high the rate of consumption was for what is to be a surveillance and reconnaissance aircraft. This clocks in at over 500,000 kilograms, and that is after. This is actually including a slight weight reduction. When I say slight, I mean there's 2 million kilograms of fuel. So yeah, I did use Tinker Panel for this. Now this started to accelerate well. Next variant, I went more in depth with using Tinker Panel. I think on version 5, as you can see, we have even more engines and throwed back down to 35,000 kilograms using these same 2 million kilogram fuel capacity tanks. So, nothing has changed on the fuselage since version 1, apart from adding these extra fins on version 2 and larger wings. But this variant did get larger tail section. It helped significantly with aerodynamic stability, and we had 30 engines. Acceleration was up to a record high, and we are able to hit a top speed. I remember to use present tense when I'm recording. We were able to hit over 3 times the speed of sound, much like the version 4, or version 3, sorry. Hitting an even greater top speed, version 3 could hit 1,066 meters per second approximately. This one can go even higher to 1,090, or 1,100, I believe, approximately. Now, we are going to be moving on to version... No, which version was I on? 5? Well, on version 6, I started refining the design. I changed the nose. I added actual, tips to the wings and stabilizers, and I redesigned the fuselage, the second set of fuselage stabilizers to be smaller. However, I reshaped them towards the final production model of the aircraft, still keeping the 30-engine layout of the earlier models. We had actually the same acceleration. Let's just use fast forward at the same time. Now this one, we lose altitude here for a second. This one is not as fast as its predecessor in version 6. Version 5, sorry. hitting a max speed of 1,045 meters per second and actually still decelerating. But let's move on. Let's undo flight, undo and exit. Let's move on to the next version, or version 7. I believe. Version 7, I redesigned the tail section again. But apart from that, everything about the aircraft remained the same. Now, version 7, I did experience some aerodynamic difficulties on long-term flights with the aircraft. Such as there was a point where the aircraft would start listing to one side, which I was planning on making this a flying wing design actually, but then decided against it after this drifting phenomenon happened. As you can see, the aircraft would start to drift once you started to get up to speed. Now let's move on to the next variant of the aircraft, and let me see what the recording's at. 11 minutes. So at 11 minutes in, and we're on version 7. Version 8, I recolored the aircraft and kept it the same. The only difference is the recolor, and it has the same tail section. So I will skip version 8. Now version 9, this is different. I made the tail fins bigger, added a stabilizer to the tip of the tail, and removed the 2 fuselage engines, added several more landing gear, and redesigned the landing gear bay for the front. Now this one does not have the fine-tuned landing gear set up. The version A of the SR-901, which was my final designation for this aircraft, will be up on Simplerockets' official website. The link in the description of this video. This variant, due to the unusual landing gear setup, needs either to retract landing gear on the runway or to continue flying. Or to be going off the end of the runway to get the gears off ground, because it is unable to pull up since the far landing gear is designed to use center of lift. Or no, the center of one of the centers. Center of lift, I believe, is where it is. Center of lift. Behind the center of mass and lift. But it can reach similar speeds to the first one, and this is not really into production because we still have the air intake on the nose, and I'm going to make a change to the aircraft here in this video regarding its paint color. So after version 9, we moved on to Vanguard Airlines SR-901 Blackbird 2. It is literally the same thing. This would have been the production version. However, the production version is the SR-901A Blackbird 2. Now what I'm going to change here is I'm going to make the paint color a little lighter, but not too light. Now here we have the Vanguard Airlines SR-901A Blackbird 2. And all improvements I will make to this aircraft are going to be uploaded. Now, the difference between this and the previous versions is I tuned the landing gear more precisely for retracting. They are not, however, tuned for uniform extending. except for maybe the back. And the back are kind of, but not really. But you get the point. Okay, so what I was saying about not being able to retract landing gear, and not being able to take off without retracting landing gear, you hit what was the takeoff speed for the previous models, and then you hit the landing gear. As soon as the landing gear get off the ground, you will be able to pull up. Now, this aircraft is fast, and the difference in design is I added elongated air intakes with a smaller nose and removed the nose's air intake as there were no longer engines in the back that needed fuel to be, or oxygen to be fed to them. Now, this variant of the aircraft has a little bit worse acceleration compared to its predecessor. However, that is due to the added mass, which has not been tweaked as of yet, to conform with the lightweight materials that are going to be used. However, I have not done a max speed test for this aircraft, so we're going to be doing that here. We do have a slight drifting problem with the aircraft. However, that slight drifting problem is taken care of by its control surfaces with the better stabilization of this model. There's a little glitch with the jet engine exhaust going up instead of back, but it's just mobile games in a nutshell. Now we're topping at around 700 meters per second, and this is not the final version of this aircraft. I will be adding to it. I'll be including a link to this video in the description, as well as, I will be including a link to this video in the description of the aircraft, and I will be including a link to the aircraft in the YouTube video description. Take that screenshot there. I'm going to actually be uploading this in this video here. So let's go to upload. I'm renaming the company to Vanguard Aerospace, and I will be switching our test world to actual Earth. Now for rockets, I will have to use the Juno system. However, here, that's not really a problem. Now, anybody who uses the new page for this will see this there. Craft description. I'm not sure, but I'm going to be including all of these screenshots I took with the original A variant I had planned, which did not make it. Okay, so description. The Blackbird 2 is a long-range surveillance. I spelled surveillance wrong. Surveillance, reconnaissance. I don't know how to spell reconnaissance, so surveillance aircraft. It is capable of hitting twice the speed of sound in this variant, and will be able to hit 3 times the speed of sound in its successor, the SR-901B. It has a stealth coating and top-notch defensive systems against unguided and guided munitions. And we are now going to upload it. Here we go, pulling me to the website. Here we go, I have it uploaded. The Vanguard Aerospace SR-901A Blackbird 2. Dry mass of -2. Now let's look at the exact dimensions of this aircraft. If it says. Okay, the exact dimensions are 7 meters by 33 meters by 19 meters. Oh, that thrust is glitching out so pretty bad. But edit tags. I need to fix its tags. It is aircraft, fictional, jet, manned, military, mobile friendly, reusable, vanilla. You can only have up to 6 tags, so let's remove it. There we go, got it. Now that we have that out of the way, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And I'll see you all in the next video.